Hello, good people. Another edition of Boxing Chit. We're back in here. Of course, it's myself, Josh, along with Boz holding it down across the pond, or at least across the ocean. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, the Atlantic to be exact. Anyway, how's it going there, Boz?
Well, today we have quite a lot of snow again, but it's
Mhm.
been very cold also this month, earlier this month. So, yeah, it's just very wintry here, of course. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, no snow has yet touched down in Washington, D.C., though we may be in store for some here tomorrow or something of that nature. But then again, I could be off. But yeah, it's crazy times with the weather. Some NFL, well, at
Mm.
least 8 NFL games got postponed. Buffalo got a lot of snow as well. But you know what still goes on? Boxing, regardless, rain, sleet, or snow. The show has to go. And that's what we're here to talk about. Some good old boxing that has taken place over the weekend as well as last weekend. I know we weren't able to connect on that one, had a local show here. Shout out to PBA, all that good stuff. But that being
Yeah.
said, we'll jump into it real quick, though. Got to say salute to Mr. Pads, who's dropped by the building, showed some love, actually dropped some questions and all. And then Flack Boxing, who just jumped in here. Appreciate you there, Flack Boxing. Be sure to go check out Flack Boxing. He has a channel. He has content on said channel, and I think you will enjoy it. You will certainly enjoy it. We're talking history, baby. And salute to Ernest Johnson, who's dropped in as well. Salute to you, Ernest. Appreciate you being here, buddy. It's all good. You're holding it down. Just gonna talk a little boxing. It's been a minute, it seems like. Salute to Rodolfo Rivera Jr. Of course, we always appreciate you, Rodolfo. We always appreciate you when you drop by the building. Of course, be sure to hit him up. Oh yeah, hit up Ernest as well. He does some lives uh, on his channel. Chatted on Skywalker Boxing's channel, all that good stuff. I want to mention that, so be sure to give him a like, subscribe. And then, of course, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Sending his salutes out there. Appreciate you there, Bruce Gas. Always great content coming from Bruce, especially. Be sure to check out Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. You can like, subscribe, and digest the content. A lot of good historical content. Bruce himself knowledgeable of all these things that go down in the great sport of boxing. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of this modern stuff, like what went down yesterday. Mr. Paz actually kicked things off with a question of his own. He said, "While we have so much to discuss, okay, firstly, Josh and Boz, what do you think about Beterviev versus Smith? Fight time with Smith gets dropped, first time that Smith gets dropped. And then what about Maloney and the Mbili fight? So yeah, we could kick things off for
Mm.
sure there, Boz, with Beterbiev Smith. So we had Artur Beterbiev, long reigning light heavyweight champion, taking on Callum Smith, who he made a recent jump to light heavyweight within the last 2 years at least, but he's a guy who can carry the weight for sure, straight out of the UK there. And he's only once defeated, and that was at 168 pounds against Canelo Alvarez, at least on this night. And he was running up against the force at
Yeah.
light heavyweight in Beterbiev, a man who has looked practically unstoppable his entire time there. And of course, didn't go too well for Callum Smith. I thought he would put up a better showing myself there, Boz, but he ended up getting dropped, as Mr. Patch stated. And in addition to that, he
Mm.
was really just kind of beat down and ultimately stopped there in the seventh round via TKO, which I think was a great call because it wasn't going to get any better for him. What do you think of that
Yeah.
contest overall there, Boz? And then just what's in store for Artur Beterbiev, assuming he takes Dmitry Bivol next?
Yeah. Well, Beterbiev was the better man, of course, as his name says. Better be at your best when you face him. Yeah. Well, yeah, no. Probably, I think that what happened is that Callum's inactivity got to him, and even though Beterbiev himself that didn't fight for like 12 months, almost exactly, I think, when he stepped in the ring last night. But he is a different beast altogether, of course, and it seems like Callum just doesn't really do well when he must be active, always enough, obviously. So he just wasn't in the fight that much. It looked like in the sixth round, just before the ending, he was starting to kind of establish something, some kind of a game, but it was brutally, of course, cut off by Beterbiev. He did land some punches there, but nothing major, of course, and not enough by any stretch of imagination to rattle Beterbiev. Yard, he did fight a better fight than against Beterbiev, definitely. He had him hurt,
Yeah,
and all that, and
yeah,
and lasted one round more. Anyway,
right, right,
yes,
right. Yeah, Yard, he did well. I was gonna say you're right because Callum Smith started out mainly on the back foot. I felt like he probably should have been
yeah.
coming forward a bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, and what happened like from the very beginning, from the get go, he goes to ropes and Beterbiev starts pouncing him and pounding, and I was like, what the heck was he thinking going to ropes? It's like it seems like his strategy was to just run and then counter a punch, I guess. And I know Buddy McGirt is his trainer now, and you know. Kudos to him, but I don't think he made probably the right fight plan for Callum, or whether it was because of that or because of Callum himself not being, at his best, or at his most aggressive. Obviously, he was a little intimidated by Beterbiev, but at least a little bit, if not even more than that. So yeah, in the end, it was a good stoppage. I'm glad Buddy himself he entered the ring to stop it, and he didn't want to see Callum really like hurt any
Yeah,
more than he had to be, of course. So there was no way he could have come back from that, Callum Smith.
no,
Simple as that. So, and
no.
yeah, you asked about his plans. Like, was it about Beterbiev? Sorry, his
Yes,
plans.
yes. I was saying, yeah, moving forward,
Yeah.
Beterbiev. The fight that's talked about is, of course, him and Dmitry Bivol. And as a matter of fact, Bob Arum after the fight mentioned reaching out to the Saudis. So of course they'll have the funding to make it happen. So it may very well be the next fight for both.
Yeah, yeah, of course. He did mention also that Beterbiev. I saw that he wanted to fight Bivol, and it was about time. He
Yeah.
wants that fourth belt, of course,
Hmm.
and that's the only logical fight for him right now. I mean, I don't see anybody else at 175 right now being a serious challenge for Beterbiev, and also same goes for Bivol. Also,
Yeah.
he has really schooled everybody. Bivol. So his last few fights, they were like against Zurdo Ramirez. That was not a fight, it was a schooling, and also Lyndon Arthur. Yeah. So yeah, that's the only fight that really makes sense for both right now. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I actually favor Dmitry Bivol in that contest, though I think it's going to be an excellent fight, and I think it'll bring out the absolute best in both of
Yeah.
them. But I've long favored Bivol for some reason. I just feel that he will get it done on the boxing
Mm.
end. But that being said, taking that brute force, that would not be an easy job. So he would have to be on it for pretty much every single round, and I just
Yeah.
think it's an excellent matchup, long time overdue. I believe Bivol has the WBA right, and he's had it for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. I think
So we can get
he
an
made
undisputed
like
champion.
I think he made 10 or 11, no, sorry, 9 or 10 defenses already. I mean, also, but I think this was his eighth defense of the IBF anyway title. Yeah. So that was the
Yeah,
first one he won. Yeah, I mean, only one thing worries me if I was Bivol's coach or trainer, whatever, is that in the Lyndon Arthur fight, he did kind of seem, he took a body shot that seemed to hurt him there.
mm,
And if Lyndon Arthur can do that to him, then you imagine what Beterbiev can, a punch like that from
I don't
Beterbiev
remember
can
that because I
do.
don't remember Lyndon throwing much, of any
Yeah,
punches.
he did not much, of course. He did, it was in the eighth round, if I remember
Okay.
correctly. But yeah, I also kind of think otherwise we will should be able to outbox Beterbiev, but he must stay away, of course, from those kind of
Yeah.
punches. Yeah,
Yeah, certainly not easy for either of them. I think it's, I favor Bivol. I think it's 50-50 as far as what could potentially happen, but I do favor Bivol. That being said, I think
mm,
probably the betting favorites might end up coming in on Beterviev's side, though I think it'll be very close, actually. But
yeah,
time will certainly tell. Time will certainly tell. And shout out to Beagle47 in the mix. Appreciate you there, Beagle. As always, you had asked about the ring size there. It looks like Mr. Patch came through. Salute to you, Mr. Patch. 18. So yeah, that certainly favors uh, more of the action taking place on the inside, or not being able
yeah,
to really spend a ton of time moving around on the outside when you get in some of those smaller rings. So it favors the guy that wants to get in there and really scrap it
mm,
out, more so. But still,
yeah,
if you're adept on your feet, you can get in and around such. So yeah, it all depends for sure, but definitely not a lot of room to work with from that perspective. And then Flack Boxing mentions every left hook, but maybe two was hitting all glove, perfect defense from Beterbiev. Yeah, certainly he was doing good with that. And then Flack mentions that it seemed like the only form of production Caleb had was his body jab. He did see a little bit of success with that, right? You did mention, or you are correct in that regard, Flack. And he had some moments in a couple of those rounds. I didn't give him any round, but he had some moments. And as a matter of fact, I believe it was the round prior to the round he got stopped, if I'm not mistaken, that he was having some success, and that body punch was one of the reasons behind it. But then at the tail end of the round, he got hurt by Beterbiev. But I ultimately didn't give Caleb a round in the fight, though he was
yeah,
game there early on. But it was apparent from the start that gonna be the power. It's just because the way Beterbiev came out, just immediately started landing combinations, and and I give Callum Smith his props. He took those punches, but you could just tell, oh, this probably is not going to bode well here for him in the long run. And despite the size and him being the bigger fighter in terms of height overall, he it just looked like Beterbiev. He just looked so menacing in there that it doesn't matter if you're bigger, taller. He just is
yeah,
a menacing looking fighter, and you can see that from the start as well.
yeah. As I wrote today, he's like a light heavyweight Tyson. I mean, he's very good at cutting off the ring, also, Beterbiev, and while his Bivol is more of a, well, let's call him maybe, I don't know, Roy Jones without that big punch, probably, and yeah, like speed and skill and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I actually compare him to Bruce Lee in a post earlier today in Boxing Haven. So
Bruce
yeah,
Lee.
that's how good he is.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's amazing. Just, I mean, it's great to watch people do his stuff. Yeah,
No, yeah, no, I feel you. Oh, Bruce Lee, the legend himself, right there. So that's
yeah,
I think that's fine.
the
Salute to Max
dragon.
Duran, who dropped by as well there. Max Duran, great to have you in here, buddy, per usual. Says, hey guys, how about Mbili Beterbiev last night? So yeah, we were just chatting at Beterbiev fight. Of course, he looked pretty darn good. As a matter of fact, Black Boxing says Ramadan wouldn't really affect Beterviev's schedule. No, I think they can make it happen for sure there, Flack. And shout out to Eudes Fernandez. Appreciate you being in here. Eudes, great seeing you there, buddy. He says, hello, guys. Which fight was the best last night for you? For me, it was Maloney versus Sanchez. Okay, yeah, we're definitely going to get to that one as well. Maloney Sanchez, because that's the one
Yeah,
that went down. But as mentioned, the other fight that we can talk about real quick was definitely the one that was on the co-main, which was actually the Mbili versus Murdoch. What is
Yeah.
Murdoch's first name? But Murdoch's Australian. I think he came in undefeated, right?
His name is Rohan. Rohan.
Rohan Murdoch.
Mm.
So Rohan Murdoch, Christian Mbilli, a 168-pound contest that ended in a
Yeah.
6-round stoppage or corner retirement, really, at the end of 6.
That
And I
was.
think it was the right call for sure.
Yeah.
But Christian Mbilli, 168, looking to make waves. He's the French fighter, originally born in Cameroon, French fighter,
Yeah.
very solidly built, and contrary to some of the thought surrounding such, he isn't one of those guys that seems to gas out due to having the muscles and all. He's not the tallest of the 168ers, but it doesn't matter. He just has a way of getting in, digging in,
Yeah.
throwing his hooks, and he throws them with so much force, and that's round after round. And even with him being more on the muscular side, it doesn't seem to affect his stamina in the way that we've seen with other guys of a similar
Mm.
build. And he was able to show that against Murdoch, who was as game as they come. Murdoch himself was actually in top condition. He was another guy who was solidly built, taller.
Yeah.
He had a few inches on Mbili, but that being said, he chose to fight more of Mbili's fight, and therefore that didn't bode too well for him because he took some serious damage in the midst of such, and he was able to get off some punches of his own. And I don't know if he necessarily hurt Mbili, but he definitely had his nose bloody there at the tail end. But the lion's share of the major shots were all taken by Murdoch, and it was the right call in his corner to stop the fight because he was going to keep going as long as he could, and he was just taking so much damage that was clean. These were clean punches landing for the most part as well, which is another aspect of it. And you just don't know how that ultimately is going to affect you in the long run. So it's better to not continue that sustained punishment. But those are my thoughts surrounding it there, Boz. Were you able to
Yeah.
catch Mbili Murdoch?
Yeah, I did see the highlights and stuff. I mean, yeah, it was a really, I mean, wow, what a slugfest. Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks like it was a true war, and yeah, I mean, Mbili was just he's a force of nature, obviously. Yeah, I just saw that he has actually only 5'8.5", so that's pretty short for a super middleweight of today, but still. As you said, he's a very muscular guy, strong, obviously,
yeah,
and he knows how to land those inside hooks and punches very well. Yeah, and as Ernest said, he also Murdoch he fought a good fight, but eventually he was just overpowered and
mhm,
beaten up.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it will be very very exciting to see what Billy does in future. Yeah.
yeah. Certainly. And fight of the year so far. That's right, Mr. Paz. It is the fight of the year so far. Let's see how it holds up. See if anything
Yeah.
can top it. But yeah, I'm with you there. With you there, Boz. Flack says there was a moment in the round before last where they both nuked each other with left hooks at the same time. I was
Hmm.
in shock for a second. All right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, both of them were throwing heavy leather throughout, more so from Mbili, but Murdoch game. And as Ernest had mentioned, he is now a fan of Murdoch. Yeah, I'm a fan of Murdoch as well. I want to see him in there. I think he'll be game for many there at 168 pounds. So definitely not the end of the road for him. He's out there in
Hmm.
Australia, but I could see him getting more calls to come over here to the U.S. or maybe even some things down there. So I'll tune into some contests down under featuring him as well because I think that he had a great showing. And Max Duran mentions Canelo versus Benavidez or Mbili, and Beterbiev versus Bivol. So Canelo was the name that came out, and they were discussing in reference to Mbili. But I was saying to myself, that fight's not going to happen for a number of reasons. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen for Mbili. Probably not this year for sure. Just given that Canelo is with PBC. He's going to fight Munguia in all likelihood. And then ultimately, the fight that should happen is David Benavidez. So I would want to see that Benavidez fight before we saw the Mbili fight. And I think just considering the situation, that was not going to happen. But I think he can make for an interesting contest with Canelo at the very least, because he would really force Canelo to show more of that offense and really dig in to try and see if he can slow down Mbili, which nobody has been able to do thus far.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Didn't he also actually in his previous fight? Was he the one that stopped Demond Nicholson? Also, I think Mbili. Yeah, that was him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So he fought Demond in his last fight. Prior to this, and he a similar situation. Mbili was the shorter fighter, but he came in charging, and just trying to keep up with that offense has proved to be just a challenge. Real quick, shout out to Alexander Campbell. Appreciate you there, Alex. Thanks for dropping by, buddy. He says 10 below in Chicago. That's crazy. I haven't been in any 10 below weather. I don't know. Did it get? What's the temperature there, Boz?
Well, I don't know. We don't use the same kind. You use the Fahrenheit. I use the Celsius, so it's kind of It's about -2 degrees in Celsius. Just a second. That's what it said on or -1. So I don't know how much that is.
That's 28 degrees Fahrenheit.
Let me check.
-2 Celsius, about 28 degrees Fahrenheit. So somewhere around there.
Yeah,
I'd imagine it gets colder. I would think, huh?
It's 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
cool. So not too bad. At least by Norwegian standards, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just like a week ago, we had like -20, or 25, so that's like -30 in Fahrenheit,
Wow.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it hasn't been that cold for over 10 years for sure here.
Okay.
So
the climate has certainly shifted somewhat. So we've seen that. And Flat Boxing says the scariest part was Mbili showed no signs of slowing down. He was slanging and banging into the corner retirement. Yeah, that's the crazy part right there. Mbili just not slowing down whatsoever. And I mean, he's just throwing those punches with, even as they mentioned on the broadcast, bad intentions just for every round. I mean, he's putting so much into them. And you got to have a chin to be able to just hang in there for a good little bit with him, which Murdoch certainly has a chin on him. And I think he showed that for sure.
He's a mean little man, Mbili.
Oh, yeah. Yep, he is. And Max Duran says he kept landing that overhand right, which was most likely due to those body shots. Yep, because he was digging into the body as well. Yeah, Murdoch was getting it from the body to the head. He was just taking all types of damage. His body work was fantastic, as Flack mentions there. And Max says Mbili is kind of like a mix of Triple G and my favorite fighter ever, Smoking Joe Frazier. Smoking Joe. Not as tough as Joe, but similar style. Gotcha for sure. But that's an interesting one. I was thinking about just Mbili and where he's at. Promotional wise, I think he's with Eye of the Tiger, if I'm not mistaken, Eye of the Tiger promotion. So they do a lot of stuff outside of or in Canada primarily.
The
the song in itself, but they do a lot of stuff there, and so that makes it an interesting prospect as far as who he gets. Now, when we think about 168 outside of Canelo, who I think isn't going to happen for
No.
him. And you have Benavidez, of course, but Benavidez Canelo is what we're looking for. David Morrell is an interesting name. I wonder how that would work out in Mbili
Oh
versus
yeah.
David Morrell. I think it'd at least be the toughest challenge for David Morrell thus far, just given where Mbili is right now.
Mm.
And that would be a very interesting one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that would be also even slightly even bigger, difference in height because I
Yeah.
think Murdoch he says he is 6 feet and Morel is 6 feet one. So, but also
Okay.
a totally different game. Of course, we're talking about a totally different opponent. Yeah, much tougher, much more dangerous, and yeah,
Yeah, and Murder no
Morel.
Morel,
Yeah.
he's so technically sound that maybe he has the answer to keep Mbili off of him. Maybe he has the answer at least certain for at least the early part and probably the better part of the first half of the fight. He'll be able to keep him away in that bay, and maybe that's enough to deter Mbili in some fashion, but I don't know because Mbili he did go up against Gongora, Carlos Gongora, I believe it is, and they had a fight of the year style candidate. So we know Mbili he can continue to grow as the rounds go on. So that makes it very interesting right there as well. But Morel
Mm,
looks so special that man, you just think that he may ultimately find a way, you know.
yeah, for sure.
I can't believe you, Rodolfo, watching the UFC main event and missing the boxing. What the heck? But that's good
you
that you
know,
caught Mbili Beterviev.
I just was thinking about that. What all these also Sakio Bika, he was
Mm.
from Cameroon originally. So if Mbili should win a world title, he'll be the second Cameroonian super middleweight
Oh yeah,
champion. Yeah.
Sakio
Mm.
Bika. Yeah, he was pretty solid for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Sakio. Yeah. So yeah, that is right. Good call there. I
mm,
think. Yeah, comparable to another guy who's tough. Can mix it
yeah,
up with the best of them.
and
Sakio, another tough dude for sure.
yeah. I mean, not a pretty fighter to
Right.
watch, but
Right.
yeah, really
He was
tough.
solidly built as well.
Oh yeah,
Similarly.
yeah. But he was taller than Billy, but still,
Yeah.
it's kind of you're talking about that kind of strength and endurance and all that toughness and
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yep. Black Boxing mentions the Maloney fight, thinking it could have been a firefight. Were you able to catch that one by Maloney versus Sanchez?
I just saw the highlights and yeah. I mean, I did see the highlights, but I couldn't really decide. I know that Maloney won, but it was a tough, close fight, obviously, and
Yeah.
he took some big ones. I mean, he took quite a lot of punishment, but just seemed like he snatched it in the end, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So I was watching it, but I was on my laptop at the same time, so I didn't get all of the intricate detailings or details of each round. From that perspective, I did have it up. I did watching it. Yeah, and they were slugging it out, turned into a bloody fight as well. And
yeah,
I know some of that was from what the referee ruled as headbutting, and they did clash heads a few times,
mm,
just stylistically. But very good fight. Seeing Maloney, was this Jason? I think somebody
yeah,
Jason Maloney.
yes, yeah,
Okay, yeah, Jason Maloney in there. And he was able to retain his title, of course.
yeah.
And he's
That was
a
good.
two-time champion, right? Because
Yeah,
he had lost him to Inoue, and
yeah,
then picked him
yeah.
up again. All right, so or at least I can't remember how many titles he has, but yeah, I've always liked the Maloney brothers. I
Only,
think they're solid
yeah,
vets. You know what I'm saying? And they can
yeah,
mix it up with the best of the
yeah,
divisions there. And I think they usually get it done unless they run into a certain level of fighter like a in a way or someone like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, the truly elite top level sort of pound for pound guys, but anywhere in and around there, man, they can mix it up with the best of them, and that's pretty cool considering that they're brothers and they both possess that skill set to be able to compete at this level. But Sanchez, he was certainly game in that fight, but hey, you expect
Yeah.
that with a Mexican fighter, Mexican style, as they say.
Yeah. Of
So he
course.
came in game and he was ready to put it all out there. I think Manny Robles is his trainer. They were talking about that, and I like Manny Robles. I think he does a good job, and you can
Mm.
tell Sanchez, hey, he was seemingly ready for the moment. But sometimes it
Yeah.
can be a game of inches in the sport of boxing as well. So I see some people mentioning a draw. I would need to look at it again to really give a full assessment from that round by round perspective. But both of them brought it on this night for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, I see that from Saul Sanchez record. This was his by far biggest fight, so far.
Okay.
So he did. I mean, he did kind of pass the test. You might say certainly did not embarrass himself. So he should
Okay.
be able to land some more fights that are kind of bigger names. And but yeah, it was the Maloneys. They've had their share of losses, but they also kind of been successful and come back from defeat, bounced back. So yeah, they got a
Yeah.
lot of heart. I would say both of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
plenty of heart. Hmm.
Yep, certainly. So hey, maybe they run it back. Why not? You know what I'm saying? They made for a
Yeah.
good fight, good exciting fight. So hopefully they run this thing back. And in the
Mm.
meantime, we can start to think about what could be in the rematch for sure. And Udis mentions he says that Mbili has looked good against standstill opponents, but I'm still not convinced. Doesn't look like he has the power for that style. Morel will destroy him as he did Beko. Good. Yeah, Cena Beko, he did handle him. And Beko is a solid guy. He's bigger than Mbili, or at least taller. Another
Mm.
solid guy. But yeah, that is interesting, Eunice. I'm not saying you're necessarily off with that one. I think Mbili will be game, but hey, you could be on to something right there, Eunice, because it would be tough in terms of just navigating that range and getting inside and doing what he's been able to do
Mm.
on Morel compared to what he's been able to do with some of these other opponents he's been in with.
Yeah, Morel just it seems like it comes so naturally for him to knock out people, and yeah, like some others we know, like maybe let's say Jamie Mungia, and yeah, those kind of guys.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I know I'm with you. Hey, don't go to that bar again, Rodolfo. Screw this. Screw it.
And also, yeah, screw it. There was another guy I wanted to mention for whom knockouts come easily, naturally, who fought. I knew you were gonna talk about it. Fought last Saturday.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Oh, Victor Ortiz, right? Victor,
yeah,
or not
or
Victor, but Virgil
Virgil,
Ortiz.
Virgil.
Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah, Virgil Ortiz against I think Manny Lawson or something Lawson, uh,
yeah. It was
Jamaican fighter.
yeah, not
Yeah,
many, but
yeah.
very.
Manny Lawson might have been
Yeah.
a football player I'm thinking of, but Lawson nonetheless.
I
The
think
last name fights with a
Derek
high
Lawler.
guard up there, kind of tucked
Yeah.
in. But
Mm.
yeah, that was interesting right there. Virgil Ortiz versus Lawson. Virgil Ortiz making his long-awaited return this time to the 154-pound rank because 147 had been an issue and had been for a good period for him. But that being said, man, we didn't get to see much of him, though it looked like he was on a trajectory of doing what he always does, which is eventually break a fight
Yeah.
down in
Hmm.
great fashion and in exciting and brutal fashion in some regards. But unfortunately, our guy Tony Weeks stepped in and called the fight a bit too early there. I agree. It was a bit too
Yeah.
early. And
Yeah, it was.
Tony probably needs to get back in that flow of things with some of these non-televised cards. Not that he didn't do any on that night, but some of these non-televised fights or whatever that take
Yeah.
place, because generally there are a lot of fights on a boxing card, so you'll have the non-televised portion, and maybe he did some of those, but I just think he's a bit rusty in some sense, though I know some might have other thoughts surrounding it. I think Paulie Malignaggi did a poll thinking that Tony was fixing things. I don't think that is the case. I think that he had a bad stretch of fights.
Paul is too eager to accuse people of fixing, I think. Yeah, this is just a bullshit. It's all one big scam. I mean, Mr. Paz mentioned it at the beginning. If you go back,
Okay.
his third comment, he asked about.
Oh yes.
So there it is. Yeah, some kind of brain aneurysm scare. Yeah,
that he had on his medical record or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that guy, Frederick Lawson. And Max, thank you for clearing that up. His name was Frederick Lawson.
Okay, Frederick. Salute to you, Max. Yeah, Frederick Lawson.
Yeah, was it in this fight? Yeah, because I wasn't sure. Maybe he meant the previous fight that he refereed, Tony Weeks. And which one I instantly thought of? That one where Morel knocked out that guy from Kazakhstan in the last round, Yerbo Sinuli, that guy who was in a coma for a while. Aidos, his name was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he came back, or you're talking about from previous time?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, good to go.
Oh, yeah. Lawson had a brain. I don't know how to pronounce it. Aneurysm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, right there. I think that.
Why let him fight then? Come on.
Right. So what I would say in that regard, I know, just thinking about it from the officiating ranks and doing it on the amateur side here, the notion is, you're about the safety of the fighter, but you're not a doctor also, so you can't make a judgment on the fight based on your thoughts on someone's medical record, if they were cleared to fight and all of that stuff. And not that, hey, we know that things can be facetious in some sense. Certain intents, but I don't know if that's necessarily the reason to do such when the fighter has been cleared and they're in there for their opportunity, and you making a judgment based on, I guess, your thoughts surrounding what you feel a brain aneurysm means medically, or how it could affect a person medically when you're not a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, all those deaths that did happen by when people got knocked out and turned out they had some kind of brain disease, or I don't think any of them were in the first round. So this was the first round. It usually happens because they take first a prolonged beating and then they get knocked out or something like that. So that's when most often this happens. These kind of tragedies, So yeah. For instance, I know that Scottish boxer who died like in 2016 or something, Mike Towell, he was knocked out in the fifth round. And he had a thing, I don't know what he had, something, but his brain was not right. So he wasn't knocked out in first or second or third round. Yeah, so it's not that easy to really get really seriously injured in the first round. It's quite hard, actually, in one round to get that, injured and damaged. Yeah.
So. Yeah. It's always a tough proposition for sure. Always a tough proposition. But yeah, so Victor Ortiz, hey, if he continues to fight at the level that we know he can fight at, which it seemed like he looked to be good just for the little bit of time that we got to see him. Then, hey, I look forward to what he can do there at 154 pounds. I think that, hey, there's enough competition that he can make for some very interesting fights. And ultimately, the thought of him versus Tim Zoo, who Mr. Pads also brought up here,
Yeah.
I think that will be an excellent fight at some point
Man.
down the road, even though
That would be
Zoo is like
fire.
ready for the biggest fights at 154 right now. And of course, with Virgil Ortiz, there may be a need to see him, him to get another, just fight under his belt that will allow for him to kind of get more rounds in, considering he didn't really get to do that right now. So I think that
Yeah.
Ortiz versus Zoo, very good fight, very exciting fight. And hey, if it were to happen next, I'm down for it. Um, that would make
Yeah.
me favor Zoo a bit more, just given that Ortiz, you're talking 2 years, he's only really had a little portion
Yeah.
of the round, that he's fought. So I would favor the more active Zoo, who is just like primed and ready to go right now. But that being said, if Ortiz say fights someone next and does his thing, then they want to make it Zoo versus Ortiz after that, hey, sign me up for it for sure, because I think that's one of the exciting fights in boxing, and we know both of those guys will be in there exchanging heavy leather.
Oh yeah, that would be fire, man. That fight would be just a straight, fight of the year candidate. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Team loves to bring it, of course,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I like that better than Zoo versus the Jamel Charlo.
yeah, that would be too much. I think of tactical on Charles, and maybe have it. He would be a little more cautious, definitely. I think then Virgil Ortiz would, yeah,
Yeah.
because
So
it too much it would be at stake, right? So
yeah, right, right. So yeah, Mr. Paz mentioned Zoo versus Lubin got canceled. That would have been interesting as well. Interesting fight as well, because Lubin, hey, we know he's always game. I would have favored Zoo to eventually kind of break Lubin down.
yeah,
Especially at this point, Lubin, man, with that damage he took in the contest with Fundora, his face was pretty much grotesque. I wonder how his face will react to taking some shots from someone from like Zoo, who is a strong puncher for
mm,
sure. So, but yeah, I think that would have been a pretty solid fight as well. And hey,
yeah,
maybe even Lubin versus Ortiz, that would be a good one as well in terms of trying to get a barometer or kind of just see where Ortiz is there at 154. But even with that in mind, we do know that, hey, Ortiz, I mean, he always comes ready to go when we do see him in there with the fight. So maybe he doesn't need another sort of tune up or anything. And maybe he's ready now, having gone through a training camp at least and actually got to a fight here for the first time in a good long while. So
mm.
hey, a lot of interesting things could certainly happen.
Yeah, Lubin also, him being also a puncher is always potentially exciting, in a fight. Of course, can bring a really good fight. Yeah.
Oh
So
yes, certainly.
you
uh,
also have, yeah, you mentioned Fundora, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
Fundora.
he took a lot of damage in that Fedora fight. I just wonder
Yeah.
how he'll hold up now
Mm.
with his facial features swelling, any potential scar tissue, anything of that nature. And he's been in some
Mm.
pretty tough fights just in general. Hey,
Oh,
Mendoza,
yeah.
he's another one. He was game there in there with Zoo. Zoo won it, of course, but Mendoza, man, game
Yeah.
fighter. I'd like to see him again too. I think he would be a good one. Uh, Whoever he goes up against, even if that were Ortiz or someone like that too.
Yeah, it's got that kind of dark horse fighter who nobody expects to win against a guy like Fundora, but he wins by knockout even. And yeah, there are always those type fighters who are potentially dangerous, but
Mhm.
they don't always win, of course, in big fights. But sometimes they do.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, you're right. You're right there. But salute to Judge Frank who dropped in. Appreciate you, Just Frank, as always. Dropping the box, you want some love there. Yeah, we were talking a little boxing there, Just Frank. I know you've been in here for a good little bit now, but yeah, we were talking some of the matchups from this past weekend that went down, as well as the weekend prior. Virgil Ortiz making his return in what was a pretty solid contest, and then what happened on that one also there, Boz was Barroso knocked out O'Hari Davies.
Oh
He
yeah,
knocked him out. Woo. I mean,
yeah, that
and
was.
Barroso.
Yeah,
Hey,
David said it coming because
yeah,
there's somebody showed that when Barroso was fighting last year against who was it? It was somebody a big name.
Rolly Ramirez.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
he said Ben Davis tweeted that he would laugh if Barroso would win that fight. But then he lost. He loses by knockout to Barroso, and Barroso gets. The joke was on him. You might say that way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was wow. I didn't expect that. Of course, I thought Barroso was just far past his best to pull off
Hey, that
something
power
like.
remains. You know, they say that's the last thing to go.
Yeah,
The last thing to go is that power there.
he
So,
certainly has it. Yeah, yeah.
excuse me, got a little UFC discussion in there. Volkan versus Islam. What's going
Come
on
on,
there, Flack?
cut it off, cut it out.
It's all good. Salute to you know that name there. Can you read that, boss?
That's Natalia Yavorska, I believe. Yeah,
Hey, Natalia, what's going on? Appreciate you dropping by, buddy. Appreciate you dropping by. It says Smith Strong Boxer. You Bank Daddy would beat Beterviev. Oh yeah,
that's
you Bank
that's
Senior.
you don't want to call her. That's a woman. It's not a body. It's a friend.
Oh, Natalia. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Salute to you, Natalia. Appreciate you dropping by. Of course. Um, yeah. She can still be a buddy.
yeah.
She can still be a
She
buddy. Yeah.
buddy.
My buddy, my buddy. But no, yeah, Smith, yeah, he was strong, but man, that power didn't translate to
Yeah.
Beterbiev in that same way, of course. But
No.
that top level,
Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy.
he's built that way. He with his long arms and being so long. It's not always easy to get the punches. To land on guys like that who come forward a lot and they don't stand there, waiting to get hit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
certainly. You're right there. And Udith, hey, I agree with you there, Udith. Yeah, Tony, he's been in some fight of the year. He was in Castillo versus what's the guy's name? That he passed away. He died on a bike. Castillo was
oh
in it. It was like a great fight.
oh Corrales.
Corrales,
Corrales.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Diego Corrales, Jose
Chico.
Castillo. Hey, Tony Weeks was in that contest. Matter of
Yeah,
fact, Tony
well,
Weeks was in that matchup with you remember that time Badu Jack? I forgot who was going against. He had his big gash on his forehead
oh
and blood was
yeah.
all over Tony Weeks.
I think that was the guy Marcus Brown, was it the
Oh
opponent?
yeah. Maybe Marcus Brown, but Tony Weeks he didn't stop that contest, and
Yeah.
he had blood like a pint of blood all over him, basically.
Yeah,
So
Badu just had so much bad luck, man. he
oh
was
yeah, he did.
he was robbed several times by judges, and then that happened. He pretty much lost because of that cut. So yeah, that
Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you there. You just I don't know. Yeah, Tony he needs to sit down for a little bit, and he just needs to sit down there, Eudes, for sure.
I think his worst performance by far was in Cole versus Ward too. That was just a
Oh yeah,
disgrace. I mean,
yeah, the way it went down. Yeah,
three low blows, and then he just calls it off. That's a knockout, like a legal knockout. I was like, what? You
yeah.
can't be serious, man.
So yeah,
yeah,
you gotta come in sort of neutral, not with any
yeah,
judgment based on a previous contest or something of that nature.
yeah.
The fight by fight basis, right?
Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, he didn't act like a real like neutral referee there. Like you might say, he acted like a war partisan, support or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's tough sledding there. Rodolfo with you. Ortiz versus Zoo. Let's get it done. Let's do it. That would be a big one at 154. Probably my favorite contest at 154 now, as far as what could potentially be made. Yeah, I think that given the time, the as I mentioning earlier, I think that Jermell Charlo versus Zoo has kind of worn down a little bit, worn off a bit. So Ortiz Zoo, yeah, just has the makings of an excellent potential slugfest type of fight, one of those classics from those realms of contests. So that's why that one I would put it at number one at 154 right now. Okay, even Ortiz versus Fundora.
yeah.
Interesting.
Why
That'd
not?
be fun. That would be a fun.
Yeah, Ortiz is not that. I mean, he's of course much shorter than Fundora, but he's still not a short guy. I mean, he would that would be all right. I mean, it would be such a huge difference in height. Like for instance, if he was 5'7", he's like 5'10". I think Ortiz is or almost 5'11".
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. Oh, I agree with you there, Eunice. Yeah, I think he has lost some sharpness. They've been bringing Harvey Dot out there to Las Vegas because that's where Tony Weeks is based. Previously they wouldn't do that in terms of bringing. You didn't see it often where they would bring, at least over this last 20 or so years, maybe even 30 or so years. Usually, if you were in that particular jurisdiction for that commission, they would go with the guys there, which, of course, some of the Vegas guys that we're accustomed to seeing are older now. Kenny Bayless just stopped, or he just retired. And you had Robert Bird. You would see him often. Tony Weeks, another one. And they just need a fresh crop in there. But they've been bringing Harvey Dock, who's actually out of New Jersey, and that's what I more so mean. You typically didn't have the East Coasters doing the Vegas fight. It would all depend. There'd be particular situations. Now, contractually, certain things could warrant such with certain fighters who had certain type of pull. But now, I think they're realizing, yeah, we need to get some fresher blood in there. Hey, they can always call me. I'll go out there and do the thing. But
Yeah,
I need to gain that experience more. But we'll see. But I'm
yeah.
with you there, Eudice. Some sharpness certainly is not there. So that's what I'm
Some
saying. He's got to work on that. Work on maybe even in some of those non-televised fights or whatever. And certainly, hey, main event, co-main event, probably not what he needs right now until he can get back to where he needs to be. Castano. Oh yeah, I forgot about Castano. Flat mentioned him. Good Flat,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He would make for an interesting fight too. Castano versus Ortiz. That would be a good, interesting one.
I don't know what's going on with him. If he's still fighting, he hasn't had a fight since the
Since that
Charlo.
Charlo fight,
Yeah, that
that was a
was
minute
like
ago now, right? Let me see.
almost 2 years ago. I mean,
Brian
almost 2 years.
Castano.
I mean, he's already I think like 35 or he's not
Mm.
that young. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right there, Boz. Yeah, so that was
Mm,
2022, May of 2022 at that. So yeah, that was a tough fight.
mm.
Two tough fights, but very good fights. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Mm,
5'7", so 5'7.5". So yeah, it'd be interesting. Ortiz will have a little height on him.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that is, yeah, I don't know what is going on with Castano. But that would be interesting. Good call there, Flat. But I like to see that one, or at least Castano in there with someone. We'll see
Yeah,
tonight.
I hate to see that, but it happens quite often, especially with non-American fighters. They just disappear, then by the time they are back, they are no longer the same. Some very
Yeah,
promising fighters.
see if he still has that juice. Sometimes you can lose
Yeah,
that a bit, and if you start thinking a different type of way, at least as far as how you go about training, and then actually being in there in the ring, then maybe that's a sign that, hey, the juice isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
One of those things you have to deal with for sure.
Sometimes they have managerial issues. That also really sucks,
Yeah.
you know, to
Oh
have
yeah.
your
Let alone
career.
that. Think of how
Yeah,
many careers have been stalled due to that managerial promotional issues. I think
yeah,
about Yuriorkis Gamboa, all those years wasted in his prime due to promotional issues or whatever. He's
yeah.
one example. Andre Ward even had a period where he had some promotional issues with uh Goosen. He was with Goosen Tudor, I believe.
Oh,
Dan Goosen, when Dan Goosen was alive at the time. And he
yeah.
had probably about a year and a half or something like that, where they were going through some kind of back and forth battle or something of that nature.
Hmm.
So yeah, the promotional issues can be a thing. Then we
Yeah.
remember Vanis Matarosian, right? He had an issue with Don King, and then he
Oh,
left and went back to Don King. And I feel like we barely ever see. I don't know if he's retired now or what.
yeah. I think he is now. I mean, he after losing to Triple G, yeah, I think he
Okay,
retired.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was short notice for him too.
Yeah, he just had no chance there. You know, he was better at light middleweight than as a
Yeah.
middleweight.
Yeah, so interesting for sure. Simplified salute to my man Paul Bright. Says, how's everyone doing today? Appreciate you, Paul. Good seeing you there, buddy. Uh, Paul Bright in the mix there. Simplified all the Marines out there. Who are all the Army and Navy? I don't know what it is for the Navy, Air Force, whatever you all say. Coast
Mm.
Guard. I don't know what you all say. Space Force to infinity and beyond. Salute to y'all. But yeah, salute to all the military out there, the vets and everything. Shout out to Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday tomorrow, so we'll get that off. Not working tomorrow, might have to do a show. Might have to do something. Flat Boxing says he's definitely becoming a fan more and more of Zoo. Yeah, Zoo is as game as they come, baby, and he's about that action. What's his MFing name? That's what he tells you after a fight. Hey, he's ready for the prime time, man. We need to get him back out here. US. We need him in Vegas on a big. Well, I don't want to say Vegas. We need him in DC on a big card. You know, Vegas gets enough. We need him in Washington DC on
Yeah,
a big card against a 154 pounder. I'm sure we can find someone out here who will give him a little test.
Atlantic City maybe also.
Atlantic City, I'm game for that. I'll drive up there to Atlantic City. I've done it a number of occasions. Let's do it. Hard Rock Cafe. Hit me
Yeah,
up. You need to work this fight out. I'll see what I can do.
yeah. I'm also kind of excited to see what his brother also will do. How he will do Nikita Tsu, his younger brother. Yeah, he's. I don't know. Not sure which division he's at. He's a little. Maybe the same. He's a little bigger. He's a little taller than Tim. Anyway, 5'10" or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's a lot of crazy. It's a lot of weirdos on Twitch. Hey, I'll
Yeah.
read the chat. I read you Twitch weirdo commenters there. Hero whiner. I'm not showing them because you're weirdo. Just
Yeah.
FYI, these weirdos on Twitch. I
So
don't go
that's
by
the thing.
Twitch. That's a little gaming platform thing. A bunch of weirdos on there. Not that they aren't on some of the other platforms or whatever, but especially
Yeah.
on Twitch.
Some
I'll
could
leave it at
just
that.
some just come to tease and to abuse to troll. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course you gotta ignore those guys. They are not here. They're not really here to talk boxing.
Yeah, there's just some Twitch weirdos I see out there. But yeah, Max. Oh yeah, certainly. I've always been a New Orleans Saint. Well, for a long time, been a New Orleans Saints fans. Of course, they're on the downside this year. But hey, I'm looking to see those Baltimore Ravens do their thing in the playoffs here. But I think Lamar Jackson is the most exciting player in the NFL, the best athlete in the NFL. Some might argue, but I think Lamar Jackson is numero uno and must see TV there, Max Duran. But yeah, go to the Rams as well. Hey, they really came on. They really came on, and they've got a chance here to upset the
Now,
apple cart.
This is
Rodolfo
out.
says, I'm not a big fan. You watch
This
football, Boss?
no, not American football. So this is not
Oh, that's the only football.
out of my territory. Sorry.
There's only one football, and that is American football.
No, I mean that's what you call soccer, right? European football.
Oh yeah, soccer. I know about that. Soccer.
Yeah, or the football that the rest of the world plays. Only you don't.
Oh,
Or you,
kickball. Oh, you don't call that
yeah,
kickball?
kickball,
Mhm.
kickball.
No, I'm just messing around. Hey, I rock with that too. Hey, I'm an MLS fan. I like the Premier League. I like some of the other leagues like League One, Bundesliga, but I don't really ever get to watch any of those much,
Oh
if
yeah,
at all. I haven't watched as much Premier League either.
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga. I watch more
Yeah,
so
it's very good.
MLS.
Yeah, German league was always quality, and
Yeah.
Italian used to be actually the best. It was regarded as the best before, but not so much now. But they still have those big teams like AC Milan, like
Oh yeah,
Juventus.
AC Milan. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so, but now I think probably it's a Spanish, the English Premier League.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the best.
El Clasico, Real
Yeah,
Madrid, Barcelona. That's always a good one to watch.
yeah.
My guy Mario Balotelli used to play for AC Milan. You know,
Oh,
I rock with
yeah,
Mario.
yeah.
I was
Didn't
a
he
Manchester
also?
City fan.
I thought he also played for Inter, actually, Milan. Maybe it
You know
was.
what? He might have been on Inter too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's been shipped around a lot here over the last portion of his career. Uh,
yeah. He played in Manchester City with Edin Dzeko, my guy from
oh yeah, he
Boston.
didn't. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I remember he was there.
yeah,
Jaco, they had Jaco, Balotelli, and then Carlos Tevez. I think they all had all of them at once.
yeah. And Aguero,
Oh yeah,
Sergio
Sergio Aguero. Yeah, Tevez might have left, but yeah, Sergio. Yep, he was a big.
Aguero. Yeah, he scored goals. Oh man, he was
Yeah,
so
right, right.
good.
You know, he
Yeah,
was one of the smaller forwards, but man, he knew how to get in
yeah,
there and put that
yeah.
ball in between the posts for sure. Beagle
Mm.
says he's a Rams guy as well. Okay, salute to you there, Beagle. How about them Rams? Get to see Matt Stafford do his things. And then freaking the defensive lineman.
You
Damn it,
know,
why his name escaped me right now? But he's
I
legit.
used to I used to like email this. I mean, back and forward for a while with this guy who played for Rams long ago, but he was an actor also, Fred Dreyer. I don't
Fred
know if he's
Dreyer.
still alive. He was in that show, The Hunter, I believe it was called, the
Hmm.
police show.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that one. The Hunter.
Yeah. Mm.
The Hunter. Yeah, I don't know if I saw that one.
Really tall guy, really big, like 6'6" or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, okay. That's what's up right there. Paul Bright, DMV area. Same here, Paul. It says go Ravens. Hey, Paul Bright, DC specifically. Hey, Paul, you're gonna have to
Ravens.
come out to some of the boxing events here, the amateur boxing events. Look up Potomac Valley,
Yeah.
pbabox.org. As a matter of fact, I'm working on the website. We'll have it up and ready to go here shortly. I'm working on it. But hey, Paul, you're gonna have to get out to some of these amateur boxing matches that are out here. My light died here on my camera. But that being said, Paul Bright, you're in the DMV. That's what's up. Simplified. Yeah, you got to do that. Hey, it goes down here. Flat Boxing says yesterday was just all in town football. Coming schedule is boring.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I believe that. Yeah, that whole kind of series not what it used to be anyway in the 90s.
I remember. Hey, they were trying to do this little. This was a few years ago. They were trying to create some kind of super league. I think it might have been backed by the Saudis or a bunch of rich backers or whatever. They're trying to make this super league. I don't know if you remember that, Boz. And then it got shot down by some teams started pulling out because of FIFA, I think, stepping in and seeing that they were going to ban them from the other
Oh
tournaments
yeah,
or something of that nature. But they were trying to create some supreme type league that would have the likes of I know Chelsea was going to be in there. Then I think Bayern Munich, maybe Borussia Dortmund, and they had PSG, I believe, was going to be in there. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure somebody out there remembers, but it was going to be this crazy super league type. I think it was a league, either a league or a tournament that was going to be like
Yeah,
top teams playing, but
yeah,
they
of
started
course.
out.
Yeah, of course. And now you got like
Yeah, you did. In there
Cristiano,
too.
Cristiano Ronaldo playing, over there in Saudi
Oh
Arabia.
yeah,
And
right. Yeah,
who, there
man.
was one more famous, but kind of also aging footballer who plays. I don't remember who it was. I don't think he is European, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the money, of course. The money, dictates a lot. Of course, that's why Eddie Hearn, of course, has all these boxing shows in Dubai and Saudi Arabia and Riyadh or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. You're right. They have the money to shell out. Hey, and that's where the big fights are
Yeah.
going. That's where the big fights are now going. As far
Yeah.
as replacing Vegas.
Yeah, and it's easy, I think, because it's so much easier done. You just go to those guys, those sheiks or whatever, and they will just do it all. And they have the money, they have all, everything it takes. But if you're gonna do it, for instance, in UK, you have to find the arena, then like do negotiations and this and that. It's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of, yeah. It takes quite a lot of work, I imagine. Putting together a show there. Yeah,
yeah. No doubt about it. Hey, it was some weirdo sending some messages on Twitch there, Rodolfo. I ignored him. I can see him. I don't think you can see him because I'm here in StreamYard, but you was just saying some craziness.
he didn't stay very long. Fortunately, he gave up pretty quickly.
Right. Oh yeah, Eudice. I at first I was like Nikita, who was that? Then I looked up. You're talking about the brother, the younger brother.
Yeah,
Uh,
the younger brother. Yeah,
yeah, I think I've seen
yeah.
one of his fights only.
Mm.
I think I've only seen one, but hey, he's another one that should watch out for sure. I
He
mean, come from
looks
that
more.
boxing family.
Yeah, yeah. He may look more like his father as a fighter, but physically, he looks more like his mother. And Tim is the one who looks like Costa.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Paul Bright shouting out them Tottenham Hotspurs. Okay. I got you there, Rodolfo.
Naughty boy, Rodolfo.
Yeah. But MLS, man, MLS, Lionel Messi is in the MLS there, boss. Hey,
Oh yeah, Messi. Yeah, he's also kind of at the end, of course, of his career. 37 years, I
yeah,
think. He's
he is.
Messi is messing around.
Yeah. No, Lionel Messi. Yeah, 86. I'm gonna make some live boxing events in the new year. All right, good stuff there, Paul Bright. Yeah, hey, it goes down here for sure. It
Yeah,
goes down.
we had enough of Lionel Messi. We need new stars now, right? Yeah. So
That's funny. Hey, I'm with you there, Max. It took me a while to get into it, but I eventually did. Rodolfo says the negotiations for that Super League is they're still on. Interesting, Rodolfo.
of
Yeah,
course, yeah.
interesting.
Those guys won't take no for an answer. Those guys, and
Yeah, right. Hey,
you
and at
know,
this rate, especially considering you've had all these superstars going to the Saudi League, pretty much anything's on the table. Money talks, as
yeah,
they say. Money talks. But no, this
money
has been some good
talks.
stuff. Real quick there, Boz. I'm gonna look up and see what's on the schedule here now that we're in 2024. Because we
Mm.
talked about kind of the last 2 weeks at least. What's on the schedule? What's on tap? So Wednesday there's a Pro Box card. Feliciano versus Williams. So I'm gonna check that out. Always enjoy the Pro Box cards. They're usually very competitive. And
Feliciano.
good one. Al Nassar going to have a field day with Miami 86. Let's bet on it. I don't know if I'm willing to bet on it, but time will tell. But then again, I might bet a little something. We can bet a
No
hoodie on
more.
it. We
No
can bet a
more.
hoodie on it. That
No
Messi
more.
gets player
No
of the game.
more. No more of the wrong football talk, please. That's the wrong football that you're talking about. The bad.
Hmm.
I mean, like I say, it's like more like American rugby. That should be called than football. It's more like rugby, actually.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Sort of like rugby. That's one I haven't
yeah,
been able to really get into from the standpoint of learning the rules and things. Though I'd imagine
yeah.
it's
It's
not
just
too bad.
I can't watch it. Same as cricket and all those British sports. Fancy like polo. You know, yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
really into that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, certainly. But
To
hey,
each his own. Yeah, yeah.
we do have next week. Well, no, the 20th. We have that, and that might be next Saturday. Excuse me. Yeah, I think it is. Natasha
Hmm.
Jonas, Michaela Mayer, 10-round
Yeah,
welterweight contest. I believe a title is on the line as well. I'm looking forward to
right.
that one. I like Miss GB,
Yeah,
Natasha Jonas, Michaela Mayer always games. For
yeah.
sure, she's top level as well. She'll be an interesting fight. The youth is on Michaela Mayer's side. The height will be on her side. Reach as well, in all likelihood. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, she may win it ultimately, but I like Jonas. I'm a fan of Jonas for sure. I want to see Jonas do her thing as well. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be cheering probably for Miss GB, but that being said, hey, I think Michaela she has the goods, and it's gonna be a tough fight for Natasha to pull off that victory, but
Natasha.
it's possible. You never know.
Yeah, she's probably pretty talented. I know that she's pretty popular in England, Natasha
Yeah.
Jonas, and there must be a reason, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 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 certainly. Yeah, we're talking about Inter Miami, Boz. That's where Messi plays for now.
Oh, right.
Football
Same
team.
as yeah, like Zlatan. Also, I think he still plays in LA Galaxy or
No, he
something like
left. He left. I think he's done now, but he was
that.
there.
Right.
Brought
Yeah,
some good
because
things to the table.
he's not like 42 now. I think so. Yeah, it was about
Yeah,
time.
I think he's finally done. He had went back and joined AC Milan again for a second stint, but then I think he's done
Yeah,
done
he
done now.
he just discovered he can't do it anymore. Yeah,
Right, right. But he was getting out there for sure. Beagle's heading out, says okay, heading out to Wi-Fi range soon. But thanks to our host and chatter. Salute to all you. Appreciate Sunday Boxing Banter. As always, same here. Beagle, appreciate you dropping by, buddy. Certainly
yeah.
want to catch you at the next one. As
See,
always, hey, safe travels there. Hey,
salute.
Boz, another person who is fighting on this card is the guy with my favorite nickname in boxing, Little Lever's Meat Cleaver, Jack Cullen. He's going to be fighting
Oh,
here next weekend as well, taking on a guy by the name of Chelly. Chelly, I think it's Chelly, Chelli. Another Brit. So it'll be interesting. Then Tyrone McKenna is fighting, and
check
then that
it out.
Tuesday, there's a Japanese card, WBA and WBC World Super Flyweight, no, World Light Flyweight Championship. Taraji Canizales. Taraji, very good fighter. I don't know if I've
Mm.
seen Canizales, probably not, but hey, it's going to be at an interesting time, because it's going down in Japan. So it'll be
He's
very early in the morning.
he's not related to Orlando Gonzalez, is he by any chance? Or the
Uh,
other guy, Gabby, it was also his brother.
looks
Yeah.
like he's Venezuelan.
All right, then he's not. So no.
Okay. And then Delakian is going to be fighting. This is the guy who's a flyweight. He had a belt. I don't know if he still has a belt, but he may very well have one. I don't
Hmm.
know if you know what I'm talking about. Delakian, I think he's
Yeah, yeah.
Azerbaijan. Is it Azerbaijan that he's from? I'm looking at the
He's from
flag.
actually from Ukraine, but I think originally he's Armenian. I think Artem Dalakian. Yeah,
I think I see the
yeah.
Azerbaijan flag. That may be where
No,
he's at. But
Armenia. don't
no, I'm
don't
looking at the flag.
don't mix up those two. They are really in like bitter enemies. Those two countries. So
No, no, no. I'm just looking at a flag that's in his thing. Artem Delakian, yeah, because he's still undefeated.
I know that he actually fights out of, or he did fight out of Ukraine. I know, probably not now. So,
Oh, it
But
says he
he's
was born in Azerbaijan, but he lives in Ukraine. You're right.
right.
So yeah, I
Artur.
saw Azerbaijan flag on his little profile here on Box
Yeah.
Live. So that's why I was like, is it Azerbaijan?
Yeah, he
So
was born, yeah, in Baku, the capital, yeah.
so yeah, he has the WBA flyweight title. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, he's gonna be fighting against Segio Akui. Akui
Yeah,
comes in 18-2. He's only lost twice to Nakatani, Junto Nakatani, who we know is a beast. Then another
yeah.
guy, Jesserver Absid or something like that.
You got a super chat, by the way,
Oh yeah.
from
Salute
Beagle.
to Beagle, drop the super chat in there. Beagle, man, you're so appreciated, buddy. As always. Always appreciate you there, Beagle. I'm gonna get this little Steam Deck. That way I can drop some little sound effects right there. Big appreciation, big shout out to my man Beagle out there. Drop the $9.99 super chat. Hey, appreciate you there, buddy. As always for sure. Super chat, as they say right there. Yeah,
Super chat.
Beagle with the Big 10, very generous of you. Yes, very generous of it. It is appreciated there, Beagle. Yeah, every little bit helps. Yep, certainly. Hey, we're just trying to make it happen. Share this boxing knowledge and history, all that good stuff. So, hey, it's all good things. All good things
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, that's what's going down. Real quick there, Bob. I'm checking to see. Then after that, we have a few other fights. As far as big names, yeah, it'll be the 27th of January when we get Munguia versus Ryder. Outside of that, there are some
Yeah.
solid names that are fighting, but the next big name fight, at least to a degree, is Munguia Ryder, which is going to take place on the 27th, and it's going down in Phoenix. It will be on the zone.
Wow.
Oh, and we get to see on that card Oscar Colazo, who
Yeah.
is a Puerto Rican minimum weight champion who looks to have the goods. He seems to be the guy, as far as what I've seen, probably the top dude in Puerto Rico right now. One of two fighters with a championship out of Puerto Rico. Of course, him and Jonathan Gonzalez. I believe Jonathan Gonzalez still has this title, right? But Oscar Colazo, if you haven't seen him, folks, I've said it before and I'll say it here again. He is one worth checking out. And because he's a minimum weight fighter, that's like 105 pounds or less, I guess you can say, or less. He's not necessarily a big guy, but man, he fights so big and he's so fluid in there. He can just box. He's already overcome some adversity, all of that stuff. He can box. He's very good. I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of, who I could throw out there for comparison's sake. But yeah, I can't think exactly at the moment. But man, trust me when I tell you, Oscar Colazo has the goods. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. As a matter of fact, I might have to watch some more Oscar Colazo out there. But yeah, salute to everyone, of course, who's dropped by, show some love. No, you're good, Beagle. It's all good, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all sharing this knowledge, good stuff. But yeah, salute to everyone who dropped by. Of course, man, it's been great to chat again. Might do something tomorrow. We'll see. If you haven't, check out that Packy McFarland video out there. Great lightweight right there. Great fighter in history. A lot of good details in that video that I'm telling you will reveal some things about some fighters, different names you might know, and the potential of what could have been outside of what we already know about the great Packy McFarland. So be sure to check that out, folks. And with that, yeah, man, it's been a pleasure as always. Been a pleasure. Any closing thoughts, Boz?
Yeah, I'm really just can't wait for the that Fury Usyk fight. That's so live
Oh
to
yeah,
think.
we didn't talk about that. So
Yeah,
John Porter
that's
thinks it's not going down.
yeah.
But
Well, anyway,
that will be an interesting one.
stay tuned anyway, of course, folks, for more of us in future.
Oh
Yeah,
yes. Hey, and I'm gonna have to drop by yours again there, Boz. If you haven't checked out Boz's channel, be sure to give him a like and subscribe. Check it out. He's a
yeah,
master of the perfumes. Hey,
Yeah,
he'll give you some knowledge, you know, and hey, that's always a good thing, especially you want to know what to step out with. He's
yeah.
got you covered for sure.
Lately, I've been doing a little bit like that life coaching stuff as well. So, I do a little of everything on my channel. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, certainly. All right, good stuff then. Well, as mentioned, thank you all. Hey, we're gonna be around. Drop by in the comments, all that good stuff. Hey, much
Yeah.
love. Enjoy your time off, the rest of your weekend.